Hello everyone and welcome back to Perio Hub. I'm Dr. Sneha. So firstly, wishing you all a very happy new year. Hope this year brings in a lot of happiness, joy and productivity to all our lives. So let's start off this year with one of the highly requested videos, which is on periodontal pocket. So let's quickly dive in. So let's have a look at this intraoral clinical picture. So this basically is a picture from a 55-year-old female, and if we closely observe the clinical signs and symptoms, then the gingiva is erythematous. There is a lot of recession which is seen, so obviously there is underlying bone loss. There is tooth migration, and if we insert a periodontal probe into any of the sites, then we expect that the probe will go deep into what is called as a periodontal pocket. So this part right here is gingival sulcus. So if we see the markings of the probe, this sulcus depth is about 2.5 mm. So anywhere between 2 to 3 mm is considered to be absolutely normal, and it is termed as the gingival sulcus. Whereas if the markings of the probe exceed 3 mm, then we can say that there is some kind of pathology associated with it, and we give it a term called as the periodontal pocket. So what is a pocket? Pocket is defined as the deepening of the gingival sulcus. So again, let's have a look at this clinical picture. So here we've placed the probe along the long axis of the teeth, and it has corresponded to a marking of about 6.5 mm. So again, because it is more than 3 mm, it is a periodontal pocket. So what is a pocket depth? So pocket depth is nothing but the distance between the gingival margin to the base of the pocket. So between the gingival margin, which is right here, to the base of the pocket is the pocket depth. So now that we know what is a periodontal pocket, let's try and classify it. Pockets can be classified in different manner. So first, let's classify it depending upon the relationship between the base of the pocket and the alveolar bone. So what are the two structures we are talking about? We are talking about the alveolar bone crest and the base of the pocket. So it can be divided into two categories. First category is called as the supra-bony pocket. So in supra-bony pocket, the base of the pocket is more coronal to the alveolar crest. So as you can see, base of the pocket is more coronal to the alveolar crest. Now supra-bony pockets are also otherwise called as the supracrestal or the supraalveolar pockets. Now let's talk about the second type, and this is termed as the intra-bony pocket. So here the base of the pocket is present more apical to the alveolar bones. Now similarly, intra-bony pockets are also called as the intra-alveolar pockets or the subcrestal pockets. Next, let's classify it depending upon the morphology. We have a category of gingival pockets, also called as the pseudo pocket. So here there is no kind of attachment loss which is present. Only there is enlargement of the gingiva such that if we place a periodontal probe, then it will give us a marking of more than 3 mm. The second category is the obvious category, which is a true pocket. So true pocket, there is presence of attachment loss. There is apical shift of the junctional epithelium. There can be bone loss which can also be seen. So all the clinical features of a pocket per se is present in a true pocket. The third category is a combination. So it is the combined pocket. So here there is presence of gingival overgrowth as well as there is presence of attachment loss. The third category in which you can classify pockets is depending upon the surface which is involved. So in the first category we have the simple pockets which involves only one surface. The second category we have the complex or the spiral pockets. Now here the base of the pocket is not directly communicating with the gingival margin. So if I place a periodontal probe over here, it will give me this particular reading. If I place a periodontal probe here, it will give me this particular reading. But in this case, the base of the pocket is right here in this area. So remember, here the pocket is in a spiral shape and it is called as the complex pocket. And the third category here is the compound pocket. So compound pocket involves two or more surfaces. So simple pocket involved only one surface, whereas compound is two or more. So here if you see, if this is the buccal surface and I insert a periodontal probe, then this will be my reading. Whereas if it is on the lingual side and I insert a periodontal probe, then this will be my reading. So it involves more than one surface, is called as a compound pocket. The next category to classify pockets is based upon the disease activity, and it can be classified either as an active pocket or the inactive pocket. Now remember this category, we will be discussing about this in detail in the second half of the video. So now that we have a broad idea about what a pocket is and what is the classification, let's now talk about the most important topic, which is the pocket formation or the pathogenesis of the pocket. So here, if we zoom this particular site, then this is a site of gingival sulcus. So here the sulcus depth is around 2 to 3 mm, which is absolutely normal, and it is covered by something called as the sulcular epithelium, and the base of the sulcus is formed by the junctional epithelium. We have spoken in detail about sulcular and junctional epithelium in the previous broadcast. I will link the video somewhere on the screen so that you can check it out. Now similarly, if we zoom in a picture of this particular area, which is our periodontal pocket, so here as you can see, the probe is getting inserted to more than 5 mm, and here there is apical shift in the junctional epithelium which is seen, and also the sulcular epithelium here is replaced by the lateral wall of the pocket. Along with that, in certain cases we can also see alveolar bone loss. So this is a true pocket. Now if we talk about the stages of pocket formation, so this is a normal situation. This is the gingival sulcus, this is the sulcular epithelium, and this right here is our junctional epithelium, and this is our connective tissue, and this is the alveolar bone. And along with that, we have intact periodontal ligament fibers as well as gingival fibers. So all these things are intact. Now in the second picture, we see that there is plaque formation that has started. So initially there is always supragingival plaque which gets accumulated, after which it is the subgingival plaque which gets accumulated. And in similar lines, the bacteria which initially colonizes are always the gram-positive, which are aerobic in nature, and slowly they convert into the gram-negative bacteria which are anaerobic in nature and are more pathogenic. So basically the plaque which contains the pathogenic bacteria, they release certain virulence factor in terms of the lipopolysaccharides and certain metabolic acids, and these metabolites further leach through the epithelium and enter into the connective tissue, and they stimulate the mast cells which are present surrounding a blood vessel. So these mast cells are stimulated and they release a substance called as histamine. Now this histamine in turn causes the endothelium to release the pro-inflammatory cytokines such as the interleukin 8 and interleukin 1. And because of these, the whole cascade of inflammation begins. So the steps of inflammation will be discussed in some other video, but for now just remember, one of the most important cell that gets activated during inflammation are the neutrophils. So here as you can see, the neutrophils are activated and they basically get recruited. So they undergo chemotaxis, that is the active movement towards the chemical gradient, which in our case is our bacteria. And they facilitate the killing of the bacteria in the gingival sulcus and prevents the further progression of the disease. Now this is proved by an experimental study which was done on dogs. So basically dogs do not do oral hygiene, they do not brush their teeth. And in that case, there is plaque accumulation which is seen around their tooth. Now, in case of dogs, there is neutrophil activation and chemotaxis phagocytosis that occurs, and this process prevents the occurrence of periodontal disease. So therefore, neutrophils are so important. Now, on the other hand, another set of dogs were taken which had neutropenia, that is decrease in the number of neutrophils. Now, in those dogs, there was development of periodontal destruction. So remember, neutrophils or the PMNs are the first line of defense and help in the arrest of the disease. Now let's consider that the plaque had virulent bacteria and there was intense inflammation that has occurred. Now in that case, the tissue breakdown begins. Now the tissue which breaks down are mainly two types. So here we'll be talking about the connective tissue and the epithelium. First, let's talk about the connective tissue. So during the process of inflammation, the fibroblasts, the PMNs, macrophages, they release something called as the MMP. So MMP is matrix metalloprotein. So it is a type of collagenase and they help in the destruction of collagen. So as we know, the connective tissue is made up of many fibers. So we have the periodontal ligament fibers, we have the gingival group of fibers. So these are all made up of essentially collagen. So the breakdown of collagen leads to the destruction or breakdown of connective tissue. Now another mechanism through which the connective tissue is broken down is by the fibroblasts itself. In case of fibroblasts, these are the cells which form as well as destroy the collagen. So fibroblasts can directly act on collagen and cause collagen destruction. So based upon these two mechanisms, the connective tissue breakdown is initiated. Now let's talk about the epithelium. So we have spoken in great detail about junctional epithelium. We have seen that how junctional epithelium is attached to the tooth via the DAT cells and the hemidesmosomes. So basically the inflammatory cytokines which are produced, they break the proteins which form the intracellular connecting unit, that is the desmosomes and the hemidesmosomes. So because of the epithelial attachment breakage that occurs, there is apical shift in the junctional epithelium which is seen. So here we see that there is apical shift in the junctional epithelium that has occurred, leading to deepening of the gingival sulcus to form a periodontal pocket, and along with that there are small ulcerations which are present in the lateral wall of the pocket as well. So because of these ulcerations which have now formed, the bacteria which was still now present in the gingival sulcus now gets entry into the epithelium and the connective tissue. So the war which was still now fought inside the gingival sulcus has now shifted to inside the tissue of the organism. So now the neutrophils will no longer migrate into the gingival sulcus to attack the bacteria. It will start phagocytosing the bacteria inside the connective tissue itself. In the same lines, even the bacteria which is still virulent will start attacking the other cells and cause tissue destruction because of its metabolic enzymes. Now at this stage, if the host responds to this bacterial attack by activation of various other mechanisms like recruitment of the lymphocytes, the macrophages and the monocytes, then the host is able to arrest the disease process. And in that case, there is formation of something called as an inactive pocket. Whereas on the other hand, if the host is not able to arrest the disease process and the destruction by the bacteria and the host mediated enzymes are still occurring, then it is termed as an active pocket. So in today's video, we discussed what exactly is a pocket. We discussed the various types and classification of pocket, and we discussed the most important aspect, which is the pathogenesis of the pocket. So I hope you found this video helpful and interesting, and if it was, then please do like, share, subscribe and comment in the section below. Also follow us on other social handles like Instagram and Facebook page. And with that, have a fabulous week ahead. This is PerioHub signing off.